Talking about frog is always a great joy for me. I really love frogs. I passionately love frogs. If there are any frog lovers in this gathering today, I'm so pleased and happy. For those of you who have not looked at frogs so far in your life, I hope after my talk, you also keep a little corner of your mind for frogs too. When we talk about animals, the big, the bold, the beautiful usually occupies center stage. You might have listened a talk or watch a TV program exclusively on large and charismatic animals like tiger, leopard, or elephants. But most of them, their familiarity with the frogs is usually from childhood fairy tales or the mandatory frog dissections in schools and college. That is our understanding about the world of frogs. Frog is also the part of wonderful mystery called life. Life is absolutely amazing for me and for everyone because of different reasons. They have different shape, different colors, right from microscopic bacteria to the giant mammals. The mystery is always enchanting us. Currently, scientists discovered approximately 1.7 million species across the globe, right from water, land, and air. This 1.7 million species is a tiny fraction of what exactly we have currently in our planet Earth. Our knowledge about Earth biodiversity is so incomplete. It is a wonderful cartoon. Robert May, an evolution biologist, gave an excellent hypothetical narrative about illustrate the current status of world biodiversity. If an alien visited our planet Earth, the first question would be, how many distinct life forms does your planet Earth have? I think we would be definitely embarrassed by the uncertainty of the answer. We don't know how many animal species in India. We don't know how many species of flowering plants in India. That is not the condition, or that is not the situation of India alone. That's my Earth's true diversity could be anywhere between 10 to 50 million species. That means what we know right now is less than 10% of our planet Earth biodiversity. Remaining 90% of our flora and fauna is still remain unknown to the world. That is a stage, that's the status of our biodiversity. Even the life forms that have been discovered on the verge of extinction due to various reasons, biodiversity and its conservation is much more relevant today because of several reasons, as you're aware of this: global warming, climate change, and related emerging issues. We are living in a century of extinction, and only one species is proliferating everywhere in our planet Earth. That is none other than you and me, the Homo sapiens. We are knowingly or unknowingly ruthlessly destroying the habitats of several species every day. We are really living or facing the extinction crisis right now. There is a small introduction about the diversity of the world, the diversity of our nation. So today I'm talking about I'm talking something about little bit. I'm fortunate to be born and grown up in a tiny village in southern part of India. Much of my childhood was spent being with my parents and helping them for bathing our own cow, selling milk, and feeding chicken. Nature taught me more than what I learned from textbooks and college. Technically, not much proper formal education in my childhood, like everyone, those who are sitting in front of me today. Well, that was one of my That was the early life, and it is so enjoyable too. I started my research as a plant scientist after my first PhD and continued to do the plant research for nearly 8 years in a central government organization like US. Usually I like photography. Usually I took photographs during my plant expeditions in remote part of Indian jungle. I stumbled upon frogs during my research for plants. I started taking pictures. As a photographer, I became increasingly aware of my ignorance after taking several images of amphibians of India. And it's very difficult to identify what are the species which I have in my collection. My fascination of frogs grows stronger and stronger over time, and eventually I devote full time for frogs and ignore and forget everything around me. So I have two phases in my life. One is a plant phase or a plant period, and another is a frog period. The early frog phase, I really faced a lot of constraints, and I can say it's a tough time in my life. I spent all my personal earnings, including my old salary. I even took the loans from my friends and colleagues and friends and family members to conduct the fieldwork. But that was the period I enjoyed the maximum compared to any other time in my life. So that is a small description about me. In 2001, after 10 years of silent research in different parts of Indian jungle, I first announced my first publication in the form of 100 new species discovery from India. The 100 new species of a vertebrate, according to the evolutionary perspective, it is not very easy and everyday news. There was a mixed response for this announcement. Announcement of 100 new species was criticized by many of my fellow researchers in India. The major criticism was I was that time not a zoologist. I'm a plant taxonomist or systematist. But I took the criticism very positively. I quit my job and started doing my second PhD in Brussels University under the supervision of the famous evolutionary biologist, Professor Bosit. That is a brief introduction about my second life. After that, I can say something about frogs. Frogs usually, we believe, very ugly. Maybe because of the bad start. I can say the fairy tales portray frogs as ugly. The common knowledge about frogs is generally limited to the slimy, gray, or brown, living in puddles. But frogs are not like that. Frogs are one of the most brilliantly colored and most attractive animals compared to any other living life forms in our planet Earth. Very hard to believe, I hope so. We always admire butterflies. We always like birds because they have very beautiful feather and the wings of butterflies is very colorful. But if you believe like that, you just have a look at this. These are all frogs, it's not paintings. I think frogs are the most brilliantly colored animals in the planet Earth. I think sometimes it's not possible to even mix these colors by a painter is also not able to paint. These are real frogs. So sometimes we believe, of course, maybe this type of frogs are only there in the remote part of Amazon, not in India. India is frogs again, gray or brown or living in puddles. But not true again. Look at this. This is an Indian frog. You can see different color, different shape, amazingly beautiful. So I think frogs are one of the most charismatic living organisms in our planet Earth. I think at least you definitely say at least frogs are beautiful. Look at the beautiful eyes and look at the colors. Dazzling colors, amazing, amazing really. So we know that evolution, that is my major area of research. Earth evolved millions of years of evolution. If I'm talking about the story or narrating the story of planet Earth, that is also the story of frogs. Why? I'm saying the story of our land or the planet Earth is also the story of frogs. Amphibians are the first land animal having vertebrates evolved from water to the land, fish to the frogs, from frogs to the reptiles, reptile to the birds, birds to mammals, and mammals to including us. So that is the story of frogs is also the story of land. So the second reason why we like and why we had to love frogs. Frog is really the owner of solid earth. Currently, I know that this is not my classroom to talk about animals like frogs, but that is my job, to try to impress you with my frogs. More than 7,000 described species of amphibians across the world in 3 major groups. One is snake-like legless Sicilians, usually live under the ground. The second is like a gecko or lizard-like salamanders. And third one is our common animal, that is frogs. Currently, the world has about 7,000 species, and amphibians are the 4th largest group of land animal with a backbone after birds, reptiles, and fishes. I can say a little more about my research. I spent over 25 years of searching frogs throughout India. When I started my research on frogs, Indian total number of species of amphibian is less than 230 species, as an average of 1 species per year. In the last 10 years, the number of species increased up to over 100 species. That means every year 10 species. So far, I have formally described 70 new species, 9 new genera, and 2 entirely new family. One is from Western Ghats of southern part of India, and another is from northeastern India. This is from northeastern. This is a very unique lineage. You know how many families in the entire family? I don't want to talk more about science today. This is so sad. We know that the frogs are brilliantly colored. Frogs are having the maximum diverse reproductive modes, evolved approximately 350 million years ago from water to the land, the first animal with a backbone. But sadly, the frogs are on the verge of extinction. Almost half of all known species is on the verge of extinction due to various reasons. I can say 1 out of 3 species is threatened with extinction. You can just imagine what are the major reasons behind the amphibian extinction crisis. So let us have a look at some of the important reasons behind Indian amphibian decline. Maybe because of us, a small video. This is from the southern part of India in the Western Ghats. We have seen the major reason or threats of amphibian crisis or extinction of amphibians from our country, especially one of the major biodiversity hotspots, Western Ghats. That is the peninsular part of India, right from Maharashtra down south up to Kerala. We are destroying the home of several species of amphibians in the sake of so-called development. It is so sad India has the maximum number of lost species or the threatened amphibian species compared to any other part of the world. Maybe some of us might say, of course, frog is declining, so what? How does it matter for me and my society? They're only frogs, they're not even tiger. They're only frogs. But I believe you will definitely reconsider after my talk. The frog is giving directly and indirectly giving a lot of benefits for our survival. You just imagine a world without frog is sometimes it's not possible. Frogs is usually considered or known as environmental indicators or environmental barometers. If you look at the most major impact factor journals right now, like Nature, Science, or down PLOS or PNAs, you can see one article related to the ecology or related to the conservation, mainly lower forms of life. For that sort of things you can see all the time, amphibians they're using as an indicator to understand the real importance of nature and nature conservation. The second major reason behind amphibians' role as a pest control, for controlling the pest in the agriculture field for farmers. I believe frogs are the best friend of farmers. Without investing millions of dollars for importing pesticide and destroying our habitats and drinking water, you can keep a small part of land as an aquatic area, wetlands for frogs. Frogs consume a quite good number of pests every day. And food chain, they are also playing a critical role to give the life to the other life forms. Of course, this is very interesting for you, biomedical research. Because of hospitals, we are using morphine. At the same time, the amphibian-derived alkaloids are almost 180% more powerful than morphine. And morphine have another major concern is the addictive, especially is using for age below 20 is sometimes is not very good. So this chemical derived from the alkaloids derived from the skin is really very important for the clinical. And again, we are not able to imagine a world without drinking water. The quality of water in an aquatic habitat, not in our wells, but in the remote part of jungle and in the urban area, the streams, really you want to see the frogs there. The frogs clean the water, a lot of other aspects. We have seen, very briefly I'm talking about the importance of frogs in our society, and we have seen how important is frog for our survival. Unfortunately, these animals are really in the verge of extinction, is maybe in a great danger. Scientists have shown that they have highest number of extinction as compared to any other group of animals in our planet Earth, including India. Apart from the species that declared as extinct, there are so many other species extremely poorly known that they have not seen for decades or even centuries. That species we usually scientists call lost species. In this backdrop of the global amphibian decline, including in India, Delhi University made a new initiative to attract the common people to understand and conserve the amphibians of India in the form of Lost Amphibians of India campaign. The Lost Amphibians of India initiative is a unique program to search for India's lost amphibian species, involving civil society and make awareness about amphibian conservation at the same time. Unfortunately, the maximum number of lost amphibians from India, currently 53 lost amphibians in India, that's the maximum number of lost species compared to any other part of the world. I'm not very proud, at the same time I'm very sad. So that's the reason this program has a very, very important. The novelty of Lost Amphibians of India Initiative program. This is not a scientific program. This is a program which is trying to attract the common man, and they are also the part of the research, they are also the part of the search, they are also the part of the publication. Currently, we have 20 teams, over 400 members. That includes NGOs, scientists, students, housewives, for searching these lost amphibians of India. So far, we have conducted 58 expeditions. So you can see the different expeditions in different remote part of Indian jungle. And this is the time I had to acknowledge and thank the funders for this really a big project. We have to spend a lot of money for organizing expeditions. We received globally national and international funding. As I mentioned earlier, we have over 400 members, conducted 48 expeditions. Maybe this is the time, let us listen some of their voice, what they have to say about this initiative.
Try to discover whether many amphibian species that have not been seen in decades.
Turn my torch, we have headlights and all, and we turned, and it's supposed to, it looked very brilliant.
I am a medical professional involved in this Lost Amphibians of India project.
Lost Amphibians of India, a dream project of Indian amphibian biologists.
Yes, we have 400 members. 400 members is really all Indians. They're really involving in searching every nook and corner and remote part of Indian jungle. At the same time, we need support from civil society. Any successful conservation campaign, we can talk about conservation. If I'm talking conservation of amphibians in front of amphibian biologists, absolutely there is no meaning. Because they know the importance of amphibians, they know the importance of the amphibian conservation and everything. But at the same time, we need to attract the civil society to this movement. For that, we need so-called celebrative. Fortunately, we received tremendous support from different people across the globe. Daniel Kumble, at that time he was the captain of Indian team. And the second person, George Mayes, is a long-time writer and the producer of the cartoon Simpson. He's a major supporter of this project. And so many people. Let us listen what they have to say to us.
I hope this project will be successful in finding those lost species.
Hi, I'm George Meyer, longtime writer for The Simpsons. We're both excited about protecting the amphibians of
the Western Ghats.
But habitat destruction is wiping out ancient homes of amphibians.
Okay, so we have volunteers, we have civil society, we have celebrity to attract the civil society to the campaign. But I think that is not enough. The major problem is politics in India. We know that we have to conserve everything, so we have to please, we have to approach our politicians in a very nice way. So fortunately, we managed, and we received tremendous support. You can just listen.
Frogs particularly have great ecological value. They signify the onset of the monsoon, for example. They are very much part of our culture.
I am also happy to note that special project is in progress for finding out the lost amphibians of India.
മലനിരകളിലെ വംശനാശ ഭീഷണി നേരിടുന്ന.
So we have volunteers, we have civil society, we have political support. It's not enough again. So actually, we need a media support. Fortunately, Lost Amphibians of India initiative received extremely good support from global media and national media to disseminate the knowledge and disseminate the information about the urgency of halting the amphibian extinction crisis in India and abroad. I think the two people need a special mention today. The editor of Economist spent several days in the remote part of Indian jungle to write a story about Lost Amphibians of India initiative. Finally, she ran a cover story in the foremost magazine, I can say The Economist. It was a great pleasure to see a frog, a tiny frog, sitting on the cover of the world foremost economist magazine, The Economist. Like that, another major person who involved in this project is Bahar Dutt. He's a CNN-IBN editor, environmental editor. She also spent several weeks with us in the remote part of Indian jungle. And finally, she made a story about Lost Amphibians of India, the documentary called Mad About Frogs, and probably is the first documentary ever made exclusively on frogs of India. Maybe this is the time we can.
Lost Amphibians of India. I've been privileged to join an expedition with them.
They need as much protection as the tiger or the elephant.
That's an important point, Bahar. Thank you very much. We have to think about conserving amphibians and everything. I'm not talking about only amphibians. We usually talk only two animals to conserve in India. That is tiger, elephant, or maybe leopard. All other animals are not animals in India. So we have to think about the world is having amazingly colorful and brilliantly, every species, including like us, it's an important role to play in the nation, in the nature. So nothing is, you can't avoid frogs, insects, everything is playing a very good role for our nature. But the real strength, we have political support, we have celebrities, we are getting a lot of media attention and everything, but the real strength for any successful conservation initiative is mainly from the civil society. The Lost Amphibians of India initiative took a very special initiative to make the meetings like this, along with them in the remote part of jungle, taking them along with them and talking in the middle of the jungle and showing good pictures and showing the animal. That is very important, and we have already organized over 30 meetings like this. Dear friends, amphibians are really facing great danger. We need friends for conserving amphibians. Almost half of all known amphibians are almost on the verge of extinction, not only in the world, including in India. Almost 100 species already extinct from the wild within a short period of time, it is less than 100 years. If the extinction continues at this rate, probably the complete disappearance of frogs from our earth is not far from now. This could become the scenario very soon. You can see frogs only in exhibitions or in the museum specimens. This is not a joke, or it is not a lamenting, it is not the only reason Biju is standing and talking about frogs. I really mean it. Sometimes in your own lifetime you can see the complete disappearance of really brilliant animals. So what we have to do? I think this chorus of frogs is a symbol of drama of life on our earth. Hope this chorus will continue to resonate in our planet Earth for everyone. We can work together, discover the unknown, and preserve them for us and for future. I hope that is my wish. I hope that is your wish also.